My mom and sister accused me of stealing charity money to hide their own theft, so I cut them off completely. Now, 6 years later, they're asking for my help with their new business. Hey, so my estranged mom and little sister reached out to me recently after 6 years of no contact. I set a condition they're not cool with, and now I'm wondering if I'm the jerk here. To give you some background, I'm 28 and my sister is 24. She was always the spoiled one, getting away with everything. Our dad was more of a disciplinarian with both of us, but my mom couldn't bring herself to ever say no to my sister. Our dad passed away suddenly from an aneurysm during my second year of college. It was tough for all of us, but we tried to stick together. My sister was 16 then, and she really spiraled. We even got her to see a psychiatrist because her behavior was getting out of control. She started staying out late, drinking, smoking, and we're pretty sure she was doing drugs too. My mom finally had to put her foot down with my sister. She threatened to call the cops on her friends for dealing drugs, which scared my sister straight. My mom forced her to quit all the bad habits and hang out with her old friends again. It seemed to work for a bit. The last time I saw my family in person was 6 years ago. I went home for a few days, and my sister's high school had a bake sale. My mom made my sister participate, and we baked a ton of cookies for it. After the event, I had plans to catch a movie with friends, so I left while my mom and sister stayed back to help clean up. A few days after I got back to college, I noticed a bunch of my high school friends had unfollowed me on Instagram. I was really confused because I had no issues with any of them. When I finally asked around, someone told me I should be glad they hadn't blocked me yet, which made no sense to me. After some digging, I found out from my mom that my sister had stolen almost $2,000 from the bake sale. To cover it up, my mom blamed me, telling everyone I stole the money to fund my supposed drinking problem. So that's why everyone unfollowed me. They thought I was a thief. I haven't spoken to my family since then. Now, they're reaching out, and I'm conflicted about how to handle it. Am I wrong for setting conditions before reconnecting with them? So, check this out. My mom totally threw me under the bus just to save my sister's future. Apparently, I was off at college and only swung by home once in a while. So she figured it wouldn't matter what people thought of me. But my sister? She was still living there, and if folks found out she had swiped money meant for charity, they'd never let her hear the end of it. Mom had to think fast, and the plan she came up with was to blame me. Yep, she even coughed up $2,000 from her own pocket on the spot to quiet down the gossip and keep my sister's secret safe. Mom also begged everyone to hush about my supposed drinking problem because I was still dealing with it. She didn't want people to know that her kid was so desperate they'd steal charity money. But of course, people talked. One of my old classmates had a sister on the committee too, and she blabbed. So, now everyone thought I was not just a drinker, but a thief. Back in high school, I was the goody two-shoes who never touched booze or did anything shady. So people were extra shocked that I turned into a problem child in college. This whole lie to protect my sister, it totally wrecked my reputation. Mom didn't seem to care. She figured since I didn't live there anymore, it shouldn't matter to me. But it did. The idea that people saw me as a thief was way worse than them thinking I had a drinking problem. I was livid and told Mom she needed to come clean. She flat out refused and even told me I wasn't allowed to spill the beans either. She was so worried about my sister screwing up her future again that she couldn't risk the truth coming out. The only reason my sister took that money was to hang out with her friends. She didn't have spending money since Mom cut her off. After they came back home from the bake sale, Mom apparently laid down the law, telling my sister that it was the last time she'd bail her out. One more slip-up, and she'd let her face the music. That scare was supposed to be a wake-up call for my sister, but who knows if it actually worked. I haven't been in touch. Mom and I had a massive argument over this. She thought the worst I'd face was some people unfollowing me on social media, while my sister's future could get derailed. I was about to graduate from a top school, so she figured my life was set, and I should just shut up about it. It was enraging. I ended the call and decided not to talk to her until she apologized, which she never did. 6 years passed with zero contact. I graduated, and the only ones at my ceremony were my grandparents. I'm tight with my dad's folks since Mom's family is from Iowa, and she's not close with them. Once I told my grandparents the whole story. They cut ties with Mom and my sister too. The rest of Dad's side followed suit, so 6 years go by, and I hear nothing from them. I have no clue what they've been up to, and honestly, I didn't care. Until about 6 days ago. Out of the blue, they email me. needing help with some new business venture they were starting. Mom had been a real estate agent, and my sister, well, that's another story. So here's the deal. My mom and sister have decided to jump into the real estate game, and they came knocking on my door for cash. Apparently, word on the street is that I'm doing quite well for myself, and they aren't wrong. I'm the youngest head of a department at my company, running the entire marketing show. That means I've got a decent paycheck and can easily help them out. But after 6 long years of silence, just asking for money wasn't gonna cut it. I decided to call them up on the number they provided in their email. My mom sounded super excited to hear from me, which was kinda surprising after she ghosted me for so long. Anyway, right off the bat, I laid down my own terms. I told them flat out that I'd only think about investing if their apology was as loud as the disrespect they showed. In their email, all they said was that they regretted whatever happened in the past. Big deal. I wanted a public apology and for them to come clean about the lie my mom told 6 years ago to protect my sister. Only then would I even consider throwing in some cash. I made it clear that I was totally ready to sign any paperwork they needed, but that was my one non-negotiable condition. I worked my butt off to get to where I am, and I wasn't about to give them money without getting something in return. For 6 years, they didn't bother to reach out until they wanted my help. If they could be so cold, then I wasn't going to be a pushover. To me, that sounded fair, but my mom and sister freaked out. They called me selfish and said I should just let the past stay in the past. Since they still live in the same city, they're worried that the truth coming out now would be just as bad, if not worse, than before. My mom kept saying that because I don't live there, it doesn't affect me, but it would ruin their lives. I told them straight up that their ruined reputation wasn't my problem. This was about the principal. They lied about me, and I had to live with it for 6 years. Honestly, it doesn't sting as much as it used to, but the truth needs to come out eventually. They had 6 years to apologize and didn't, so now they can't expect me to just hand over the cash without any strings attached. I wasn't asking for anything extravagant, just an emotional acknowledgement of their wrongdoings. Why was that so unreasonable? So, am I the bad guy for telling my mom and sister that I'll only invest in their business if they tell everyone the truth about their lies? Asterisk asterisk. Update 1. Asterisk asterisk. Hey everyone, thanks a bunch for all the support and advice. I've decided to follow the majority opinion here. I won't indulge my family anymore or try to make them meet my conditions. You guys are right. I don't need to make any deals with them. I should let bygones be bygones because, at this point, their opinions don't matter to me. I'm doing well in life. In fact, I'm doing better than many people who believe the lies my mom spread. I don't need to prove myself, especially not to those people. I guess I just wanted to hurt my family back, because it always stung that they never bothered to apologize to me, despite screwing me over. But after reading your comments, I realized it's not worth it. Their behavior now makes it clear that my feelings don't matter to them. All that matters is their own comfort. I hoped they'd have come to their senses by now, but I was wrong. I'm hurt and disappointed, but I'll manage just like I have for the past 6 years. So, I'm sending them an email to let them know I won't invest in their business and don't want any further involvement with them. I wish them well, but want them to stay out of my life. Asterisk asterisk. Update 2. Asterisk asterisk. All right, I did it. It's been 10 days since my mom reached out again. Last night, I finally sent that email after going back and forth about my conditions. You know how it is with fairness and all that? It took me forever to send that email, even after my last update. I was still holding out hope, thinking they might reach out, maybe even apologize in person if they couldn't own up to their mistakes publicly. I waited for 3 days, but eventually it hit me. I was just setting myself up to be let down again. So, I finally just got it done last night. Writing that email was super draining emotionally for me because I knew it was probably going to be the last time I'd willingly talk to them. I decided that if they tried to get in touch with me again, I wasn't going to entertain it. Plus, after 6 long years, I was finally getting some closure. Once I sent that email, I felt a huge relief wash over me. Then I decided it was time to fill my grandparents in on everything. Until now, I hadn't shared any of this with them, but it felt right. So I called them up and spilled the whole situation. I even told them about how I'd set a condition for my mom and sister, but later decided not to get involved. They were really proud of me for taking the high road and letting it go. They mentioned that even if my family had apologized publicly and acknowledged their mistakes, it wouldn't have fixed anything. In fact, it might have made things even more bitter between us. They said the only thing that could truly heal our family was a genuine apology from my mom and sister, one that didn't come with any strings attached. And honestly, as corny as it sounds, they were right. I'm actually feeling pretty good about my decision now. I'm glad I reached out here for advice because it was super helpful. Many of you commented that I should have just posted the truth on social media 6 years ago and called me a doormat for not standing up for myself. But honestly, I didn't want to ruin my sister's future. They're still family, and just because they treated me poorly doesn't mean I have to act the same way. I've always been a bit of a goody two-shoes, and I don't think that's gonna change. Anyway, I'm just going to stay out of it now and mind my own business. Update 3. So, a few days back, I sent that email to my mom, and she finally replied today. She said she and my sister really wanted to meet up because we have a lot to talk about. Apparently, they couldn't find out where I live or get my phone number, despite asking a bunch of relatives, and my mom finally apologized. She admitted that 6 years ago, and even now, she hadn't been considering my feelings and recognized she'd been a terrible mother to both me and my sister. She said she expected me to be more understanding and never really let me be who I am. Even throughout these 6 years, she wanted to reach out but was too scared I wouldn't want anything to do with them. I thought the email was quite raw and sincere, so I told her where I live so they could come over and we could try to sort things out. I'm not sure if I'm making the right call, but my gut says to give it a chance. After losing my dad so suddenly, I'm terrified of not making things right while I have the chance. My dad's passing was a harsh reminder of how quickly things can change, and it still sticks with me. So, I'm going to try to mend things with my family while I still can. Update 4. Hey everyone! I know a lot of you were skeptical about my decision to invite my family over, but I explained my reasons. Now that I've met them, I don't regret it. A couple of hours ago, my mom and sister came over. It was super awkward at first, but after some small talk, my mom just broke down and gave me a huge hug. She was sobbing and kept apologizing. My sister was sitting on the couch, crying silently. And of course, if everyone else was crying, I couldn't hold back my tears either. They both kept saying how sorry they were for the past 6 years, and that no matter how much they apologized, they couldn't make up for it. The fact that I'd invited them to clear the air meant a lot to them. My sister even thanked me for taking the fall for her back then. Back then, I could have easily exposed the truth, and people would have probably believed me. But I chose to protect her, even though both of them had treated me horribly. They told me they wanted a fresh start, and to show they were serious, they didn't ask for any investment from me. They said they'd manage on their own because they didn't want me to think I was just a piggy bank for them. They just wanted to share the news about their new business. At first, they hoped for an investment, but then they realized they had been selfish and only thought about themselves, not me. I don't really know what caused this change in them, but I'm pretty glad we had this conversation. We've got a long way to go, but at least it's a start. We're going to try to stay in touch and fix these broken relationships. I even talked to my grandparents about it, and they think it's a good idea. So I'm glad I went for it. People make mistakes, but those who forgive when the time comes can make a real difference. So here's to hoping for the best and seeing where this goes.